Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Weekly Collective. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. I hope that you're doing fantastic this weekend. You actually picked a really great special topic, and we're going to deviate a little bit because there's a lot of areas that we're going to look at. So you wanted me to dig deeper into your collective lives, looking at the where, the when, the why, and the how. So what we may do is for each of those do like little 3-card pulls. I'll see if I still feel like doing the Celtic Cross or not. Today is very much in the flow, very intuitive, perfect for a new moon. Before we get started, let's check in on everyone's favorite co-host, Apollo. He is always back there chilling out, making us feel zen and welcome. This is a reading for everybody. So if you're here, this is for you. We're going to go into a lot of different topics today. We're going to start off with things that came through in dreams first. And I don't know about you, but anytime there is a punctuated lunar event, whether it's the full moon or the new moon, I definitely feel that in dreams. I put a little poll up right now to see how everybody's feeling. I'm happy to see that hopeful is leading, but I wasn't surprised that the uncertainty also popped in there. So let's see if we if that continues to trend as I do the reading here. But let's get started here. So there are a couple things that came through, and they were very kind of like pentacles oriented. And what I mean by that is very resource oriented. One thing that I was shown in dreams and meditation was to focus on the bank, the financial sort of aspect of your life. Now, anytime we're looking at pentacles, it's like time, energy, money, and also just like how much you're investing in a relationship, things of that nature. It's the output and the input, making sure that it balances out just like a ledger. So sometimes spirit will show me, like a very literal symbol for something that can be much deeper. But I do think it's time to do a little bit of bookkeeping when it comes to all of those expenditures. Definitely the financial piece, because we're in a time where the markets are unpredictable. But I think looking also at, am I getting what I need out of this, and this? Making sure that all of those returns are coming in the way that feels best to you. Also, for whatever reason, I was just shown like a need to get very organized with your paperwork, because there might be an opportunity or even a necessity to get to that. You never know when you're going to have to find something like a birth certificate or a deed to a house or something like that. So it was getting very organized in like legal, financial, and also when we're looking more figuratively at the input and output that you're investing in people, places, and I would say activities as well. So that was one piece. The other was, this is kind of interesting too, because it's like one of those cars that doesn't need anybody in it, the autonomous vehicle. So I see kind of like a chariot or a car, but there's no driver. And so when we look at chariot energy, it is about sort of stepping up and like taking the reins, because usually on the chariot, there's a couple of, depends on the illustration. There can be horses, there can be sphinxes, there can be whatever. But like you have to take the reins. So it feels like in this moment in time, I don't know whether it's procrastination or just this feeling of, I don't know if I can do it. Either way, if you watched my new moon reading, which I posted late last night, it'll be here, whenever you need it. But one of the things that came through loud and clear in that, and we can tie it into this, is manifestation. So it feels like you can do it, but one of the things that's necessary is just the belief that it's either possible or already happening, because I got 2 cards around manifestation. So I'll be very curious as we look at today's reading to see where some of those moments might pop up, and however I can kind of help you get past, overthinking things. Hopefully I can do that for you. All right, we're going to begin with a regularly scheduled portion of this, which is a 7-day. So we'll still do the 7-day and we'll do the elemental, but then everything else is going to be a little different today. Occasionally I change it up, not always, but it makes it fun. It keeps it fresh. All right, let's go ahead and set intentions while we get started here. Close your eyes for a second. Let go of any preconceived ideas, basically anything that you want or expect, just let it go. And as you breathe, imagine that you're sitting at the beach and you can trace a circle in the sand around your body. See the circle light up. Call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. And let's get started here. Zoom in a little bit. All right, let's get going here. Okay, we're going to start off with the energy of today. Everybody's favorite card, I say playfully. We've got the Devil coming through. There's a reminder with the Devil energy to avoid temptation and mostly to avoid limiting thoughts. And then we'll talk more about the specifics of this Devil card. But oftentimes the Devil comes through because you're very close to achieving something. You're very close to actually being able to overcome a fear and anxiety, etc. And the Devil's like, wait a second, I didn't say you could go. And so you're reclaiming power, you're establishing boundaries, and you're not going to give in to those sorts of things. Now, the limitation of thoughts is one of the different ways that you can sometimes get stuck. And so we see a cobweb on this. Those thoughts, they're sticky. And sometimes we inherit them, I guess is the best word, from our parents and our environment. So that could be the school that you go to, the community that you live in, the company that you work at. All these little webs start to keep you stuck. And it's a web of fear, of doubt, of expectation. Oh, you don't want to do that. No, but you're not this enough. You're not that. That's going to be hard. And so these things stick us in place. So you're going to just kind of go through like a spider would each morning and cut out all of those webs. Because that's really what I'm getting here. And it can be a seductive sort of card. That's why I actually like it when they have like an attractive woman or man on it, because the Devil is not always scary. Sometimes it's the Devil you know. It's safe. It's predictable. It almost makes you feel good, but it's sometimes anchoring you in place. So I want you to look at the things that are kind of keeping you stuck. And that's this Devil energy for today, which is a lot more manageable than some of the other versions of it. Now, of course, with this, what we want to avoid is going to extremes, making a promise that we can't keep, connecting with people that don't keep their end of the bargain. And speaking of bargains and deals, when you're working with someone that is thinking only of themselves, it always favors them. That's why you don't want to deal with this. So make sure that you're fair and they're fair. And we're avoiding those sort of sticky thought processes. That's what I'm getting specifically for this Devil card. If you do have to sign on the dotted line, see if you can't buy yourself some time, or at least have someone scrutinize like what you're looking at to make sure that you're not missing something, because there's usually something in the fine print with the Devil. Okay. All right. Monday's looking a lot better. We have the Seven of Wands, which means that you're on the heels of success. So when you have more success in your life, everyone has an opinion. There's more scrutiny. There's more people that can say, well, I would have done it this way. Everybody's a critic. Everyone's an expert. So take that with a grain of salt, put it to the side. With the Seven of Wands, there's also an encouragement to work smarter. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to pick up the slack for everybody else. People might be used to you doing it. And this could be a test as well. That Devil card that we just had can sometimes be someone wondering, how much can I get away with? How much are they going to do? So know when to say when and know when to push back. And literally, I'm going to pull the traditional one here in a second. But on the traditional card, that's what it is. It's pushing back. It's delegation. It's creating necessary limits. Here it is. Both of the cards are good. This one shows the person sort of struggling a little bit, but saying, I got to say no. I got to push back. And it's okay to have those boundaries and limits. And in this one, we see someone liberating themselves by doing that. They're like, I'm getting out of this. I don't need to do this anymore. There's hesitation. That's why the card is reversed. So don't hesitate in saying no. Try to be cognizant of how much energy you're putting into things and realize that sometimes you're creating it by maybe micromanaging or being a perfectionist. And I think that was something that also came up in the new moon reading that I did. So avoid being a perfectionist. All right, looking at Tuesday, clarity and decisiveness are coming into play. So what I like about the Seven of Cups, especially as illustrated here, is it can be dreaming, reaching for the stars. What's possible? How can we do it? The other side of it can be overthinking and creating this sort of spiral of doubt. So when the card is reversed, it's saying, give yourself time to dream and explore, but know when, this is a theme this week, know when enough is enough. And I usually, when I'm exploring options, will try to limit it. Like 7 is too many. That's why they chose this number. It's a magical number. But when it comes to choices, imagine you had multiple choices, like on a test as a kid. Usually it's 3 or 4. And that's it, because you're going to waste too much time and you'll get confused, and then it's like shades of meaning. So if you need external advice, go to 2 or 3 people. If you're trying to buy a house or a car, get the good, better, best. Find enough so that you know what your options are, but don't go down a list so far that you have no clue of where to start or stop. Okay, the other piece of it is confusion or ambiguity. In the traditional illustration, someone is kind of sitting back and they're thinking, I don't know, or like, again, I feel like sometimes there's just too many options in front of you. I'll see if I can pull that one while we're talking. So if somebody is giving you nebulous, ambiguous, or just sketchy information, you're like, I don't know what you're trying to say. See if they know what they want. One thing that I don't miss, I had multiple experiences in corporate jobs where people would just be like, do that, do your thing. And you're like, what's my thing? Like, what are you looking for? Give me the expectations, because this person is feeling a little overwhelmed. Notice how the cups are like bigger than life. They're trying to manage it. They almost look a little off balance. So what you could do is get it in writing. Say, here are my assumptions, and unless I hear otherwise, this is what I'm going to work on. That's a job thing. But in a relationship, say, what I'm hearing is this. You'd like me to do this, correct? Like, try to get some decisiveness. If not, say, come back to me when you're clear, because I'm not sure what you're looking for, okay? And again, I forgot to put the day marker up. That's for Tuesday. It's important to put, to get clarity, to limit how many options you're exploring. And also, if you feel like expectations and the wish list is sort of like getting longer than it needs to be, ask people to edit. Being concise, being brief, and being clear could be everybody's challenge. Also, you may just feel like your mind is wandering on Tuesday. So whatever you can do to stay organized is going to help quite a bit. Okay, let's go to the midweek. On Wednesday, we have Empress in reverse. This is a day to take care of yourself. You also might be holding on to something longer than you need to. So if we look really closely here, we can see the little baby ready to be birthed, ready to be released. The Sun and the Empress, when reversed, represent unnecessary delays, holding on to something too long, trying to control something that doesn't need or want to be controlled, or a struggle with power. So when it comes to the power struggles, you have what it takes this week to stand your ground, and this card is one of the best. Usually, like, there's diminishing returns with Empress and Strength, Energy, and Emperor too. Like, when they're reversed, it's sort of like, why do I have to always, like, pull and struggle for this? So this is the auditing that I was talking about. Evaluate and see if it's worth it. I love that there's a big bouquet, and actually when you turn it upside down, you can see the bouquet. This is your day to sort of get your flowers, get your recognition. If someone tries to steal the spotlight, if someone has a hard time congratulating you, supporting you, etc. in your life, you want to kind of look at that too, because sometimes there's a fear of power and you should not be afraid to be yourself. Shine brightly, okay? Beautiful energy. There could be some parental things that need to be healed this week, especially since the devil is right above the Empress. So this could be mom or dad or matriarch, patriarch in the family where there's a little bit of unfinished business or something that needs to be said, okay? All right, we're starting to see a little bit of balance coming through here on Thursday. Six of Pentacles is one of those cards that represents enough, more than enough. Not everything you want, but enough. And the key to success is basically choices. So in this, instead of having money going into pockets, we have like tea going into the cups, same sort of thing. Maybe there's not enough to fill both of them 100%, but both of them could have half a cup of tea. So it's choices like that. And it's about like, you could see it as, well, that's not enough, it's half empty, or it could be half full. So perspective is important, choices are important, and then self-preservation. So one of the things that does exist in the traditional one is you can see that some of those coins you need for yourself, sustenance, you need rest, you need food, you need a roof over your head, all of the things that we all need to survive. So make sure that you're not giving to the point of sheer exhaustion, and make sure that when it comes to a negotiation, a payment, or anything of that nature, that you're getting what you deserve. And finally, when it comes to being able to accomplish something, you can stretch out sort of like when it happens. So here's your traditional card. We see the scales, we see the hands. He's going to keep some for himself, give some here, maybe say no to someone where he feels like it's not going to work, right? Okay, so negotiation can be a part of this. This is a card of compromise. But also, speaking of the compromise, if you have the Six of Pentacles, one of these things is probably going to have to shift. In a business world, it would be sort of like the budget, the timeline, or the scope. In other words, how much is expected. So you can do less and do it quicker. If you need to do more, it can take more time. If you need it done in the same amount of time, you might need more money. So you're going to have to look at what's the most important thing and what can flex. Something has to be able to be flexible. So the only way to accomplish something is through that fine art of compromise, through being realistic and deciding what takes center stage. It's like a play. If everyone tries to be front and center, you don't know who to sort of focus on. There needs to be turns, and that's basically what's happening here. Something has to take center stage. Be careful to whom you speak, especially since we have this devil card coming through. Spilling the tea is specific to this particular deck, but it's weighing your words, and weighing things out is definitely a part of this. So whenever I use this deck, I'm like, be careful, don't gossip. It'll get back to the person that you're gossiping about. So be smart about that. Knight of Pentacles. I know I think we got 2 nights on the new moon one. So this aligns with that. Moving forward when it comes to a plan, saying, here's how I'm going to do it. Here's the blueprint. And making sure that this is why I think it's important to balance out the time, the energy, and the resources, because then you can thrive, then you can take something to the distance. So in the new moon forecast that I did, there was a 2 of Pentacles in the center, which presented the opportunity and the challenge. And I think we also had like a resource card at the end. So very similar themes. Making a choice. Once you've made the choice, you can really thrive. And that's what I'm getting with this. On Friday, it's an excellent day to talk about all things financial, to present something new in business, to basically move anything forward that might have been stuck because of the devil energy or because of the challenge or the sort of like tug of war that was going on here with the Empress. Okay, let's move on to the weekend. Looking at Saturday, we have the moon. She's reversed. So it's about honesty and integrity and not getting distracted. I like that we can see tentacles on this particular figure here. She almost reminds me of like Ursula from The Little Mermaid. But anyway, with the moon card, depending on how you look at it, first of all, it can just be about tapping into your intuition. So I love that. Don't underestimate your power. Trust your instincts. The reversal of that shows hesitation in those areas, which is why I'm saying, lean in when you feel like something's coming and you should pay attention to it. This is one of the friends of the devil card, consorts, cousins, whatever, because 5 of Swords, 7 of Swords, Moon, and Devil tend to travel together. So in my mind's eye, when I think of all the cards, I think of them in groups, like they're hanging out. These people are actually totally working together. So what the moon card is encouraging you to do, it's a little shadow of the devil, and it's saying, you got to be honest with yourself, you have to be honest with others, and if someone's trying to get away with something, you have to call it out. A conversation has to be had in those situations. There could also be a fear or an anxiety that's holding you still, and you're going to face it. You're going to look at it and say, this is why it's coming through, this is how I'm going to deal with it. If I need help, I'm going to seek the help. And just avoid unnecessary conflict, unnecessary competition as well, because the wolf and the dog that are normally on that card, they distract one another from the path in front of them. So those are the things. The moon can be a distraction, especially when reversed. Okay, let's look at next Sunday. It's a day for healing. Honestly, a week from today, if you have the time, the energy, and the resources to do so, please take a vacation, take a day off. Don't put too much work on your plate. Nothing great comes of 10 of Swords energy when you're trying to produce, because you're just stressed. If you need to get something done, pace yourself and really focus on not giving too much energy to all of the sort of fear-based thoughts that might be circulating in your head. Start the day and end the day with meditation. Make sure that you're taking frequent breaks and take care of yourself in general. The card was reversed, so you can actually avoid it. In this situation, it's probably an argument. Typically, we see someone in a pool of blood with 10 swords in their back. It's one of the most graphic cards in the minor arcana, and it represents an unnecessary outcome. It is a full stop, but you don't have to go there. You don't have to burn yourself out, go to a point of injury or fatigue, or spill the words, because the blood can also be bad blood, spilled words. And so here we just have all of that kind of incubating and sort of like ping-ponging around the brain. So don't pay so much attention to what others are saying. Everybody seems to have an opinion, like I said, because you're probably doing something well or right, and people get jealous or they just feel like they're entitled to speak up. So be that as it may, and even though it is hard, this is a day to thicken the skin. And if you want to project something that's kind of cooler than just like having thick skin, it's cocoon yourself in light. See yourself like a moth that's getting ready to emerge. And you got to protect yourself a little bit from some of the harsh energy and influences around you. But definitely self-care 1 week from today. I mean, in fact, just in the week preceding it, create some habits that serve your mind, body, and spirit, and you can avoid this. Let's look at high points and challenges in this week. They're pretty easy to spot. We'll start with the challenges so we can end on an optimistic note. I think today can be challenging. I think it's more mental. I think the same thing of a week from today. These cards can be read many ways, but they're striking me as more cognitive or emotional, which is good because when they're more environmental, that can be a little tricky. So take it slow today, take it slow a week from today. I think the highest point of the week is probably Friday. I think you start to get your footing on Thursday. The rest of the week is manageable, and I think the main thing here is not to overthink, okay? And again, to have some boundaries and limits in your life. You'll be happy that you did that. All right, we're going to move on now to the elemental forecast here. It's going to be fire, earth, air, and water. Let me get everything organized, and we'll see which deck is calling to me here. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through. Welcome to everybody new and old. Thank you to everybody that's gifting memberships. Take a look at the emojis. I added some new ones for the members, or I refreshed some of them. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, and water. All right. A lot of interesting cards. We're going to start off with fire. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We have a card of leadership coming through. I like it. Queen of Wands. And in this particular deck, notice how she is the sunflower. Often she holds it, but here, I mean, she still kind of is here, but she's embodying that energy, which is leadership. And the interesting thing about their choice, and I'm sure that nothing was accidental with Rider-Waite-Smith cards, but that sunflower represents someone that follows. It's heliotropic. So if you've ever planted a sunflower in your garden, you'll notice that as the sun goes across the sky, it follows it until it gets to the point where it just becomes a seed pod. But I had a mammoth that I planted once, and it was amazing to watch it kind of move. So are you ready to lead? That's the sort of question from Spirit, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. If you're ready to lead, others will follow. If you're not, they're going to come through and test your leadership. They're going to test you in general. So this is why with the Seven of Wands that came through this week, it's important to push back. And it's important to make smart choices this week, even if those choices are difficult. That establishes you as someone who knows where they stand, what they want, and how far they're willing to go. The little cat on the card here represents instinct and your ability to land on your feet, provided that you follow through on your intuition. So please do that. Avoid being overly bossy, and if you have anyone in your life that overreaches, like we saw with this Empress card in reverse, pushing back on that is necessary. Sometimes just saying, thanks for your feedback. I've already made up my mind, or I'm not looking for any of this, thank you. You can be polite and push back. Honestly, sometimes it's good to just say, this isn't your concern. That's a nicer way to say this isn't any of your business, because sometimes people pipe in when you're not asking for that. Now, if it's a friend, you can say, you know what I really need right now is just some support. I know you're trying to fix it, but I just need a listening ear. So however you need to establish expectations, boundaries, and roles, that's what you want to do here. Let me see if there's anything else that we need to look at here. You know, sometimes we forget that wands are magic, and it is just about working your magic. Belief and follow through this week will take you the distance. It's a very good card. I love the Queen of Wands. Just avoid narrow-minded thinking, perfectionist tendencies, or bossy energy to the point that it's like overreach. We want you to be in that boss power, but not to be sort of like overpowering, okay? Unless you need to fight for something, and then she's perfect. But generally speaking, it's just about toning it down a little bit, focusing on getting your own life organized, letting people come to you if you need them. All right, now let's move on to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. We have the moon card coming through. The moon is reversed, mirroring what we talked about, which was coming through a week, next Saturday, basically. So in this one, we actually just see the lobster. Normally there is a wolf and a coyote, or a wolf and a dog, rather. And so what this is your deepest desires. Whatever's coming out of the water is usually fear, desire, intuition, something that's beneath the surface that has been pushed beneath the surface that now is coming forward. So whatever is happening, even if it's inconvenient, especially if it's inconvenient, this is the time, this is the moment to deal with it. Ask for help if you need to. What I do like about the lobster is its hard shell. You have more strength than you might imagine this week. You can deal with it. Just take it one step at a time, one breath at a time. And then the other thing here, again, is to trust. Just as we were talking about the Queen of Wands being very intuitive, so is the Moon card. Usually you can see trouble before it is in front of you. You see it from a distance as it walks into the door, into the room, rather. So when you see it, identify it and avoid connecting with it, because that's going to save you from this, from the Ten of Swords. You don't have to take the bait. You don't have... excuse me, there's the distraction in the foreground, and you can go down the path towards illumination like the traditional card. And that's basically what I'm getting with this. Overall, pretty good week. Trust your instincts. Again, cocoon yourself so that you have that hard shell, and deal with whatever's in front of you. If you deal with it now, then all that's left in the moon is power and enlightenment. Think about what it does for the planet. It creates light when there's dark. It creates stability in the rotation of the planet. It creates movement in the ocean tides. And so those are good things. The ability to have stability, to move forward what you need to move forward, and to illuminate, to reflect. But it does show us things that we need to see. So maybe someone's even showing a part of themselves that you didn't expect. Whatever it is, it's still a blessing, even if it's inconvenient, especially if it's inconvenient. All right, moving on to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Very good energy for you. Reach out, go for it. Very much aligned to what I think it was the daily. I did so many readings yesterday, I can't remember, but basically this is the moment to, yeah, because it was 8 of Cups. So that's today's reading. So basically this is a moment for those of you that were thinking, oh, I'll eventually get to that. The eventually is here. It's now time to go back and to finish some unfinished business. If there's something that you want, ask. So the ace can go 2 ways. There can be something given to you. You can give something away. Actually, it's like 3 ways. Or you can reach for something. And I feel like it's the latter part. You're either going to release or reach. It's not going to just be handed to you. But whatever you're letting go of or whatever you're reaching for, it's exactly what you should be doing right now. It's a little more work because it's coming from you, but it's also more powerful because it's coming from you. Synchronicities are great, but there is something cool about you being the initiator of this. If someone isn't giving you what you deserve or what you need, speak up, articulate the lack. If you want an opportunity, state your intent. If you love someone, if you appreciate someone, give them thanks, let them know, let them understand kind of like what you need and want. And because it's an ace and because it's the Ace of Pentacles, you have a decent chance of getting it, provided that you communicate it well. And I'm talking to the air signs, so I know you can. So that's basically what I get there. And you may be focusing, like I was picking up on all things sort of like practical and earth related. So resources, time, energy, money, safety. seem to be center stage. And because I was picking up on earth energy, even though I'm reading air, we got that Ace of Pentacles, and you're reaching to get control over that. Because as an air sign, I get it. Sometimes we're up in the clouds, and this is a time to kind of like get a little closer to earth and make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Okay? All right, water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Take a break, folks. And also make sure that you're giving things time to, it's kind of like when you're cooking, you need to give them time to cook, to marinate. You also need to give them time to cool. So there's a necessary but not permanent break. This Four of Swords seems a little brief. We can even see someone potentially waking up in this particular illustration. So it'll be a shorter break than you think, but it's a necessary one. And even if it's just you creating some time for yourself, that time to allow ideas to germinate, to come to fruition, you're going to be better for it. I was, and I still am, looking at moves. So now I decided not to do the one that I thought I was doing. I'm looking at more of a longer term one. Like I said, I might even be relocating out of the US at some point, but I'm trying to figure out, well, do I really want to do one here and then do that, or do I just want to do that? So getting giving things time so that you know where you stand rather than just pulling the trigger. So research things, talk to experts, sit with it, sleep on it for a day, a week, a night, a month. And then if you still feel the same way after that time passes, go for it. Okay? Just give yourself the time and give others time too. That's the hard part, right? You just want to know, where do you stand? Are we there yet? Sometimes they need a minute to know if they're there. And you're already there, I think, but that they may not be. So just give them the time. If you've been overworking, please take care of yourself. We did get 10 of Swords this week. So this can be mental or physical burnout. This can also be pain in the body. You don't want to push yourself to the point of exhaustion or sickness. Okay? That is the elements. Now we're going to take a look at the special topic for today. Again, I'm kind of excited because this one came to me. I'm like, what if we just did something really different? I never know if you guys are on board, so I throw things out. And one thing that I love about this community, this channel, and this particular reading, you get a say in it. I show up, I put topics out that I don't care which one you pick, but I was kind of hoping you would do this one because it's so bizarre and we haven't done it before. Because in order for me to look at why, when, where, and how, we almost have to look at them separately. So that's what I feel like we should do today. And so they're going to be like 4 mini reads pulled together. I don't think we're going to do health, wealth, love, and destiny because I think we can get enough in those energies. If I feel like something's lacking, I'll pull it. But otherwise, this is going to just be what we need, how we need, however I need to structure it. Okay? So let's see. I'll give you Apollo to look at while I pick a deck or two for this, and we'll take it from there. We'll give him a little pat on the back because he's doing great. Hey, buddy. It's a good boy. He always is calm when I'm doing this. This was one of the cool things about manifesting him a long time ago. Actually, he's Taurus. You guys ask all the time. So his adoption birthday was a couple days ago. I got him 8 years ago. He could be anywhere between 8 and 10. So he's a senior citizen now, but when we go out for a walk, he still has pep in his step. So hopefully he's with us for a bit. All right, I have some cards here. I also like to work, whenever we're asking some of the questions, for whatever reason, this Crow deck is pretty good at, like, it's very straightforward. So I'm going to use that again today for some of this. I think we'll do the sun and moon for the first portion. So we're going to look at the why first. So in my mind, as I'm looking at why, it's like, why are we here in this point in your life? Like, what's going on? That's the why. And yeah, he does love his blankets. But, well, as long as I put blankets back there, he just kind of, he nests into them. Otherwise, he'll, like, dig. Anytime you have a terrier breed, they do a lot of, like, digging in place. So I found out, and they're all babies' blankets. So I just buy him a bunch of babies' blankets, and he's my little baby. All right, back into the reading. We're going to focus on the why. Why are you here? Not here in the reading, but like here in this moment in your life. Okay. Thank you for all the cute little stickers. I knew you guys would like that. All right, we're going to go first with the clarifying card. And I feel like I just need one for each question unless I need to go deeper. So the catalyst, if you will, for this little mini portion of it is the self-interest card. So self-interest, moving away from that, some of you might be deciding that I'm moving either into or out of this situation because it's for my own self-interest, or I'm tired of someone else, because the devil is what they're very much interested in themselves. So maybe you're trying to detach from someone who's selfish or who lacks empathy. Maybe you're taking better care of yourself and just prioritizing and kind of leaning into that Six of Pentacles energy. So the first thing that came through is it's okay to make this move, to make this step. And if you are already here because of that, great. If you're wondering, why am I still here? This card is also saying, exactly. Do something that protects your self-interest. Make sure that other people aren't self-serving. You want to kind of work and live and exist in an environment where people share the love, share the resources, share the, what's the best word from the accountability as well, because it takes two to tango, right? All right, let's look at past, present, and future. I need a drink, but we'll talk about the past, which I love. Okay, so looking at the past here, we have the universe in reverse. Many of you have seen it coming for a moment. So when the world reverse happens, it's kind of like everything's changing all at once, but there was this feeling like it's been happening for a bit. So I feel like if you can just lean into understanding that there was like the world reverses a lot like the Tower. It's like the rug gets pulled from underneath you, but it's more positive. So an example of a world reverse moment is a promotion at work. Is you put your name in for consideration on like a lottery of some sort, and you're chosen. You get to get the house that you want. You get the partner that you want. There's something that happens that you're like, be careful what you wish for, because it can happen, but then you have to show up. And so you're here because the timing is right, but I'm picking up on the disconnect. It's happening. It's real. And so when you step into it and just think, I wasn't ready for it now, but I guess I have to be, and I'm just going to embrace this because I wouldn't be presented with the synchronicity if I wasn't ready for it. So the universe, or the world card, coming through reverse is just saying it's now or never, folks. So that's part of the why. So if you're thinking, why do I need to make this happen now? If you don't do it now, you might miss the window, or it might not come around for a while. If you're wondering, why did I do it? It was because of that. So this can be read either way. If you're thinking of making the change or you just made it, we're getting validation that there is a energy of now, of imminence, of now or never, okay? And also because the world has changed. What once was isn't. What once worked won't. And you either evolve or you are left behind. So this is a time to evolve. And it's not accidental that I kept thinking of the moth and the cocoon energy earlier. So change is underway, change is imminent, and that is why. That is why this is happening, okay? Hopefully that helps. But the world card is good. It is basically an opportunity to expand, to grow, to experience, but to also shatter some of the old limited worldviews. So that's the challenge, is just allowing yourself to see the world as something that's much bigger. I know when I first started to wake up to my intuition, there was a sense of friction even towards that, until I had a few things which I will write about and I will talk about in the future, but the awakening moments were just, you can't avoid it at some point. You're like, well, this is happening, isn't it? Okay, I can either be afraid of it or I can lean in. Obviously, I leaned in. So when you lean in, some good things can happen, but it requires the ability to just, go with it. Okay, here's what's going on right now. Here's what you can do to kind of help with the situation. This is fascinating. We got 2 of the 2 cards. We have 2 of Wands and 2 of Swords. And the interesting thing is they're almost at opposite ends of the spectrum. One is indecision. One is extreme clarity on the vision. So we're going to go with the thing beneath it. The 2 of Swords in reverse is saying, well, first of all, I love that they're at peace with the fact that they had to make a choice. Sometimes it's not going to be spelled out in black and white. Sometimes there's not going to be an obvious direction or choice that you can go into. So embrace what you've been given and say, I'm going to go for this. This is the best choice in this moment in time. The 2 of Swords reversed is inquisitive. Why not? How can I? It doesn't accept no for an answer sometimes. It looks beyond that, especially if it's a self-inflicted no. You're like, well, let's get past that. Let's try it. And if something doesn't make sense, it's an investigator. It's totally in the why, when, and how, and all of this. So ask the questions that I asked to you. And so this digs a little bit deeper. Okay, here's how you can do it. Even though we're in the why, we're getting a little bit of the how. So the 2 of Wands is saying, get out there and explore the world. And find your passion. So in this card, it's very much fire-oriented. But the 2 of Wands traditionally has someone spinning a globe or looking at a globe. And so implicit in that is that it could be advantageous for you to get out and travel. Take a trip, talk to someone else, try something different. And so if you find yourself wanting to do that, or if you're doing it, you're aligned to that. That can help you get past the not knowing. Talking to someone else or experiencing something that you've never experienced before helps broaden your worldview. And that is totally connected to the World card, which we just talked about. So if you don't know, get out there and explore. See what the world has to offer, okay? And so if you're feeling that sense of wanting to travel, wanderlust, it's for a reason. And then you're going to make a choice. We've gone from, oh my God, is this happening? Yes, it's happening. To, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to explore the options, to, I know what I want to do. And I'm going to do something that helps me feel like I'm supported. It's okay to have a little bit of self-preservation, a little bit of self-interest. So ending on the ace is poetic after all of those other cards. Follow the passion. That is really why you're at this moment in time. You're either following it or you're feeling the need to follow it. And when you are aligned to what you came to the planet to do, at least at this moment in time, because we have a lot of things that we're going to do in any given lifetime. So this, by the way, is, I'd like to help you all. If you felt like, as a kid, confused, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's because you're always growing up. You're always expanding. So what do you want to do now, and what do you want to do next? That's really what you want to ask yourself. There were 2 twos, so now and next. Something new that has been coming through this year is the now and the next, because we can complain. We can't control what has happened in the past. So really focus on the torch that is the brightest, and I want you to go towards that next. And if you need to lead the way, think of what an Olympian, before, not Olympian, but it's kind of like the jogger that helps keep the flame lit and takes it across the world. That's kind of what you're doing. You're lighting the path, and then eventually you're going to get the big torch going. So there's a little bit of relay racing. There's a little bit of work to happen, but that's the fun part. That's why it's the beginning. Beginnings can be fun. You're the light in the beginning, though. You're the spark. Be the spark. Okay? That's the first part of this. I'll leave it at the top in case we need to refer to it. All right. I think I'll work with different decks as we move through these. So I'm going to need to put this to the side. All right, so that was why. Now let's take a look at when. I already got to feel like now it's now, but let's see if the cards mirror that. All right, so I'm keeping them here as long as there's space on the screen or on my table. When should you do whatever it is that you want to do? And what do you need to know about the when? I ask one question, I get another answer, but I'm going to be quiet for a second. Wow. Okay. Wow, because the ghost cards and the Six of Swords, they're very connected. But let's talk about this mini catalyst for the when. Okay. So you may be picking up on something. Again, it's a ghost of a dream that you've had before. It could be an echo of something that your mom or dad said. There is something either in the past of this life or karmically that's coming through, and it's saying it's happening because of this, because of the past. So the when is kind of pivoting on something historical. You can exorcise the ghost. You can heal this. So some of you may be holding on to something because of that ghost. Like, again, it could be, I'm staying here because it reminds me of this person. The person exists here. They exist here. They can come wherever. I've moved several times since my mom has passed away, and her energy can find me wherever I am. Okay? So if someone's gone and you're staying in an environment just because that was the last place they were, you don't have to if you don't want to. Ghosts can haunt us, and we can create our own ghosts in our energy and our mind. So there's something I could have, should have, would have. I really feel like that's your ghost. So some of you, it might be an attachment to a place because of a person or whatever. But for everyone else, I think it's a ghost of regret. And so the sooner you can exorcise that and exercise your sort of ability to create, that's what the Ace was about, then you're going to start to see this feeling of freedom. Now, in the Six of Swords, not all decks, but there are some decks where you will see a ghost. I think it might be in the Robin Wood deck. We're not worrying about it right now, but in that one, I believe that there is a sort of like phantom, a figure that's half in, half out. And then also in the Lightseers deck, we see a woman that's pulled between the past and the present. So the Six of Swords always kind of represents that. So are you living in the past, or are you living in the now and the next? And that gets us into the when. Nostalgia is a wonderfully warped and a beautiful lens, but it doesn't give us what we need to move forward. So taking the first step, it's now. So it definitely is now energy, but it's pivoting on the ghost. A ghost of regret, or a ghost of what was, or clinging on to something that no longer exists. And why does it no longer exist? Because everything's changed. The world has literally changed. Even in the past 3 months, the world has changed. But now you have to sort of pivot and think, well, this is the new world. This is the new map. And this means that I can change the timeline, because we've changed the timeline. If you wonder, why do we show up every Sunday? It's because you make choices. When you make choices, the map changes. So that's kind of like a cool way of looking at readings. You're reading a moment, you're taking a pulse. The map is how it is now. If you don't like the destination, if you don't like the surroundings, change. Then you read it again and see if you've changed enough to go in a different path. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's why we show up. So now let's look at the first step here. We have King of Wands energy in reverse. Very Phoenix-like King of Wands here, because we see all the fire, even though it's kind of like a peacock too. But the way that there are flames on this reminds me of rising up. So if there was a failure, a setback, if there was something that was unexpected, you have what it takes to dust yourself off and rise up from that setback, from that difficulty. And you will get past this. You may not feel like you'll get past it, but you will get past this. So the movement's already happening, but there's an anchor. So in this Six of Swords, which is right here, right now, when it's reversed, it's either there's too much turbulence, emotional turbulence, environmental turbulence. An anchor has been laid where you're saying, I want to do it, but you don't want to do it, or you're not ready to do it. And so we need to pick a path where there's less turbulence and you release the anchor. more straightforward, allowing yourself to try something without guarantees. We're not always going to get everything guaranteed. Part of life involves taking a calculated leap of faith, right? You don't have to do this alone. Notice how there are two people in the ship. The main question here, and this goes to the automatic vehicle that I was seeing in my dreams. Are you driving? Do you know where you're going? Those two things help. If you're not driving, find someone that can help you get there and you trust. But it is really important to know where you want to go. I think that's one of the tenets of successful people. They haven't a destination in sight. They embrace the synchronicity when it happens, and they know their worth. So these things will help you get there faster. That's the fuel for the ship of the Six of Swords. But the when is now. The why it isn't happening is what we're talking about. I asked one question, I got another answer, and as a reader, I'll weave them together, but that's what's happening. It's now, comma, but, ... There is some overthinking. There is an anchor. Thankfully, in the future, we have the answer. If you believe it, you can create it. If you see it, it can come to fruition. If, however, you think it can't happen, it probably won't. Isn't that weird? Isn't that crazy? If you think it can happen, the chances, exponentially go up. But if you say, I won't, it'll never, then you've just shut the door. You might have even locked the door. So always open yourself up to something being possible, even if there's a little bit of disbelief, and really work on the disbelief. Just think to yourself, why can't I? Why am I not worth this and someone else? Not in an angry way, but like, hey, let's do it. Why not? That kind of why not. Not like an angry why not. Keep asking yourself the why not until it gets to the playful energy. And even to the point of like, well, whatever, why not? Because it's like an actor delivering lines, but I can see the tantrum, why not? And then eventually getting to the, why not? We need to get to that. And then that's going to open up possibilities a lot better because there's less at stake. And it's kind of like the universe likes a little bit of hard to get. So when you get to the point where you kind of don't need it or want it, it just lands in your lap. So if you can do that, it feels like the when can happen like it, snap of the fingers. It's all emotional and all mental. And that's what's holding back the when. That's all that's holding it back, really. Okay, let's look at the where and see where that takes us, literally and figuratively. Okay, where are we? Where do we need to go? Show me information around location. I mean, every time I pull the Traveler's card, it's pretty big. All right, let's get another insight card on this. All right. Interestingly enough, as we're looking at the catalyst for this mini question, which is the where, we have a caching card, which is saving things. Think in a computer, like a cache helps the processor not have to access things on the disk so much, etc. But like here we see someone storing up for the future. So for some of you, the where is based on how much you've saved up, and the where may be hinging on how long it takes. So these are all going to be related on some levels. I'll do my best to stick to the question at hand. But one thing that I'm getting is you might have saved enough, or you might have enough to make things stretch and make it work. Because if you wait forever, then the window on the where could kind of like close. So know what's necessary. Don't go too low. Don't go too high. We're looking a little bit at resources, and that can help you on both when you can do it and where you can go. I do think it's important, and we're looking at the number 7 on this one. It's almost like 7 of Pentacles because we're looking at earth elements, and ostensibly this could be the 7 of Pentacles. So in the 7 of Pentacles, you've understood the balance that we talked about with the 6, and the 7 is where growth starts to come through, and it takes a while to get your roots put into place. So if you've just moved and you're wondering, is this where I should be? Probably, however, it's going to take time before you feel that way. Maybe up to 6 or 7 months. I know that when I first moved from the, and this is a long time ago, 25 years ago, but when I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, it was topsy-turvy for a little bit because I'm like, what did I just do? Did I do the right thing? And then I was in the northern part of the state and eventually I was San Francisco first, and then I came to Los Angeles. But it took until I came to LA, everything kind of sat and was fine then. But like for the first couple of years, I'm like, did I make the right choice? But I sat with it because intuitively I knew, just like I know now that it's time to do another bigger move, not just like from one city to another, but like bigger. I had that sense like, oh, I need to do it. So I followed through on that, and I'm like, I need to let it, like, I have to trust in the instinct that this was where. But at the when is, it's going to take a while for me to feel it. My brain and my third eye and my body itself was almost, it's kind of like when you're in a car and you hit stop, things move, but it's almost like it takes a minute for the body and the subtle body to lock together. So you may be somewhere like that where energetically you're here, but you're stuck here. So we need to kind of like get the two together. And that's what you got to give yourself some time. Okay. Also, it looks like you've been saving up and making this possible for a while, or storing up the strength and the wherewithal to make it happen. So just give it time for the roots to come through, okay? Let's look at past, present, and future for the where. I mean, some of you are already halfway in and out. Look at how wonderfully connected these are. So we have the Two of Wands, which has the world in it. We have the Six of Swords, which is travel. Now we have the travelers here in the now. And then if we look at the past, we have the world changed. You're stuck a little bit mentally. But now we see that you have the strength and the wherewithal to make it happen. I think it's important to go to a place, because we're looking at the where you feel supported, where you feel this sense of community. You may be also looking for a mentor, because the strength card can be a strong maternal force in your life. You might be moving closer to an aunt, a grandma, or someone in your life that you really trust. Divine feminine energy definitely coming forth on this. So that could help situate or orient you to the location that you want to go to. But you can do this. You can do this. It may take a little work. The traditional card shows her having to kind of like pry open the lion's mouth, but it does feel like this is going to sit well in the future. Again, so the where is close to a place where you feel supported, possibly closer to family for some of you, okay? The where is not where you're at, probably. The travelers is showing a move and exploring multiple locations. So like I said, I've done a series of smaller moves that haven't stuck, and I pay attention to that. I'm like, okay, and those of you that have followed the channel, I was forever at 2 locations. In my old videos, I was at one for like 8 years, and then another one, well, it was before I started the channel, and then another one for like 6 years. But like, and then it was just like, they won't stick, and I'm like, that's because it's time. The universe doesn't want me to get planted, so let's actually lean into that. It's kind of like the awakening. So pay attention to how well things are kind of sticking or sitting, and if they're not, maybe that can inform you to pivot in a different direction. This one would sit like above the world card, and it's saying, I need to see all that there is. So it's kind of like, so the world, we typically see a person like above the world, but this is maybe even going a little bit further out and saying, how is it all working together? Where do I fit in the system? That'll help you figure it out as well. So we're moving beyond like just the job or the relationship question, and it's like from a planetary perspective. Where will I feel safe, supported, and empowered? Because this is an empowered card. These are the things that are also helping me choose what I want to do. Where can I feel actual safety? Where can I speak out and be myself without fear of repercussion? Where can I meet like-minded people who support that sort of open energy? So those are questions I ask myself when I'm looking. You have to ask yourself your own questions. If it's like where you want to start a family, where you want to launch a business, where your money is going to go further, those things will help you. But then also think on a planetary level, where will I be happy for the next 25 years? Is this where I really want to go? Because sometimes we look at a move as well, I'll just go here for now. I think we have to be more tactical in this particular where to see like, where can I be for a while? Where can I really sit and thrive? And it's okay to change things up a little bit. And as we look at the future, it may not be what you thought. And the universe may serve up another option here. We have, it's almost like the universe is a bartender. It's like, try this drink. How about this? You'll like it. He's so stuck on what was, and he's only looking at what's in front of him. This is a beautiful reinterpretation of the Rider-Waite-Smith classic. So usually it's like Where's Waldo with the Four of Cups. You're looking for that hidden cup, and where you think it is, it's probably a little to the right, a little to the left. It could be something completely different. Open your mind up to be surprised. And that's when something really amazing can come forth. So what we got to help you with the where is looking at longer term planetary, like beyond money, beyond relationship, like where can I thrive? And where can I be myself? And am I open to looking at places that I never thought? And, you know, making sure that you're not overextending yourself, you're not waiting too long or not long enough. Like I feel like the Goldilocks is right around now because we looked at this, but you'll know when you know, and pay attention to that instinct. Okay, let's see here. I'll probably run out of space, but we'll do our best because I like to see the parallels. Now let's look at the how, which is a really good question in tarot. Back when I was studying journalism, you always wanted to ask the deeper questions like we're asking here because it's better than a yes, no. They're going to give you complex levels like they are here. Okay, so we're looking at the how. We're looking at resources. We're looking at miracles. We're looking at connections with the how. By the way, isn't it fun to change up the format from time to time? I like it. I can do lots of different, like we don't have to always do a Celtic cross. I'm changing things up in the monthlies in the same way. Like we don't have to do the same old, same old. It's fun. Change is good. I can always change back. That's the cool thing. We can't be rigid anymore. In this new timeline, we have to be more flexible with what's happening. Otherwise, we're stuck, right? All right, so we're looking at how, and I'll pull all of these up because I wanted to keep them on the table. I can't show everything. Okay, this is amazing. We have abundance. So there may be a resource that you didn't think of. So if we lean into the previous one, where that can also be something like a scholarship, a grant, a loan, a helping hand. Four of Cups is that. But sometimes there's resistance, like you don't see it, you don't want it, you're not expecting it. So there is a way, and it may be unexpected. And we have the number 1, so it could be an ace of pentacles, an ace of wands, any of the aces. So open yourself up to a path that hasn't been revealed. So instead of thinking, oh, it's not showing up, think to yourself, when and where could it show up? I'm ready now. If you can do one of the answers to the when, where, why, how, etc., then the other ones start to come into focus. So figure that out and get some of those kind of together, and then it'll start to open up. But there may be a hidden resource. Look around. All right, let's look at past, present, and future for how. Well, passion, imagination, inspiration. King of Cups isn't so focused on what's been done before. He's imaginative. In the same, so 2 cards that would work well, even though it's fire and water, like on a project, Cups is creative, Wands is imaginative. Wands is bossy, sometimes overpowers Cups, but the two of them work well together. So we already had the King of Wands. We need to pull in the less pragmatic and practical side and the more emotional side and the more like, oh, I just feel it. Let's do it because I feel it. That's what King of Cups is going to do. So feel your way into something. Know that that creative and passionate energy is also in the best way infectious. It's going to get people pulled in and they're like, yeah, it sounds good. Let's do it. And that can help you also get the buy-in for something that is a little bit unusual if you're pitching an idea or something of that nature. Or if you're trying to win someone over. So let's say you're, in the running for a job, or you're trying to make a deal on a house or something like that. A lot of times, especially with house selling, it's an emotional decision for the house owner. They're going to weigh the options and they're going to think, I put a lot of time into this. This person's going to take care of it. Maybe I could get a little more from them, but that's going to be the one that loves my house, even if they change it or whatever down the line. There's an emotional component to that as well. So don't underestimate your ability to win someone over through your kindness, through your passion, through your emotion. And kindness was also a tenet of the new moon reading. A lot of it's making sense as I do the weekly here, but that's what I'm kind of getting here. It's the kindness, it's the passion, it's the emotion that brings it to the next level, okay? Again, looking at the how, there might be something lost in the details. This can help you. This is really cool. Okay, some of you are stuck in a contract, but there's a loophole that someone didn't see. You could use the loophole to your benefit. There may be something in your life where you forgot about a detail, because this is detail oriented. Typically, you would see someone literally like hammering out all of these pentacles on a production line, but it's like hammering out the details. So there may be something that is already there in the small print that helps you. There could be also something that only you see. And if you're the first one to get this, good. And one thing that I saw in dreams, and it didn't make sense until now, so I kind of held it. But if you're inventing something, go ahead and when you see the thing that no one else sees, take a moment to work with patents or copyrights or protections to get that ready and then present it. That was also some of the detail-oriented stuff, because then that can help you. This is part of the how. If you are creating or inventing something, then you can distribute that and then you can make some residuals off that, which is cool. So do that sort of due diligence of getting the documentation, because I'm very much getting documents when I look at this. It has nothing to do with the illustration here. And it has nothing to do also with what I normally would read Eight of Pentacles. I'm just getting that from an intuitive hit. You may decide, okay, this is a good how for some of you because this is school. So if you're looking to move into a new country, student visas are a great way to do so. And it may perfectly align if you're younger and wanting to do that. But maybe if you're in a different point in your life, you're like, well, I'd like to move and maybe I'd like to shift careers. A great way to start that journey could be through education. Teaching. A lot of times in different countries, they're looking for people that have either unique skills, because this is education. You don't have to literally work at a school. It might be a skill that you bring that isn't there, but it could also be teaching or learning. That is part of the how, if you want to, okay? And then I'm just looking at contracts. So the details, there's something in the details that you could work in your favor. Okay. Interesting. Everything has to be done correctly. So we're looking at the how. Don't take a shortcut and don't do something that isn't right. I'll leave it at that. Seven of Swords, you try to get away with it, it's just going to make it harder. So find the right path, find the clear path, be accountable, don't do something under the table. And if anybody is promising you a shortcut, find something that is not the shortcut, that is just a clear path, because those shortcuts come with little strings attached, okay? So that is more of a warning on the how, no shortcuts. Now the loophole is fine if you've already signed it and it's just something that wasn't, they didn't anticipate it, and it's like, well, actually, legitimately, I've done this, this, and this, and so it just has to be to the letter of the law. As long as you are protected with that, you're fine. But if you're trying to do something sneaky, don't do that. There's another way. There's always another way. All right, let's see if we can draw parallels and then see if there's anything else that we need to cover today. So looking at just the lines here of energy, because they're 4 questions, but they have a sort of, it's like a fingerprint that I'm looking at. So in all of the past energies, we have an immediacy to something here. It's happening. We have overthinking, which we want to avoid. We have the need to feel supported, which I think we can all universally understand. And then once you've kind of gotten into that, it's like, I just have to go with my heart. The energy of right here, right now is about making a decision, exploring the world, literally 3 cards of exploring. This one, he holds the world in his hands, just to remind you why I'm saying that. This one, they're traveling the world. This one, it's called the Travelers. And then this one is looking, once you've done that, you can get to the details, but you have to explore. So opening your mind to the change, exploring, and then everything here is pretty powerful except this. So if you have a great idea, if you have good instincts, and if something lands in your lap, great. Don't take a shortcut. Don't push your luck. It's not worth it. Energetically, take care of yourself. If there is a desire that you haven't had a chance to go towards, now's the time to do it. 7 of Pentacles, just not overextending yourself. And by doing this, we can achieve the abundance there. So a very unusual spread, something I haven't done before, but I like it. That was fun. We'll do more of these in the future, perhaps, where it's kind of just whatever spirit wants me to put on the table, because there's more than one way to read. And so today we were trying something new. All right. Let me see if there's, as a reader, sometimes I want to do one more here. So this is kind of the big idea, and it's really just, what do you need to know in this moment? That because we had so many prescribed questions, before we go into meditation and the final question for today, I'd like to just see if there's something that you need to know, okay? So I'm just getting all of these stacked up, and we'll let Apollo be your distraction for a second while I choose another deck, and then we'll go to that. All right. So this is just a question of what do you need to know in this moment in time that we haven't already covered. Don't worry about your final question. You'll still get it after the meditation. All right. So what I got for the big idea, the thing that we need to know that we haven't asked, positivity can go a long way. If you wake up each morning dreading hearing the news, dreading what might happen at work, fearing what might happen, it's going to be a tough start to that day. It's not going to be good. So one thing that I've started doing in the evening, and I might start doing it in the morning, but every evening I've started like a 1-hour self-care routine where I will work out for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I meditate and cool down for the remainder of that period and let it go. And I sleep better when I do that. I think in the morning it could be a 5 to 10 minute routine, just of breathing and stretching. So, and you're just gonna breathe in possibilities. Rather than fear, just think, all right, let's do this. Let's make it a good day. I'm ready for something good. Let's bring on something different. Show me the silver lining. Because there's always going to be something. Every day, there's always something. But there's always something good too. So look for the something good and celebrate that. Celebrate. Nine of Cups is having some fun. After this reading, I'm going to hang out with a friend. I'm taking Apollo with me for that as well. But that's a way to kind of like celebrate. I have a lot of work to do, but I'm like, I need to have the lunch after this. So we have to do things that create joy in our life. Avoid extremes. Don't overdo anything. Moderation is basically your best friend right now. Okay? Let's get into a meditation. We'll look at a final question for today, and then we'll wrap up. For today's metamorphosis, for today's meditation, we're going to focus on metamorphosis, the cocooning energy that keeps coming through and even left my lips as I was saying meditation. So take a moment and close your eyes. Imagine that you're in a magical forest and there's a beautiful rainbow overhead. You can see the sun shining in the distance, and you are starting to wrap yourself in a protective energy like a moth, like a butterfly. You're cocooning yourself. Feel in this moment in time, despite all that is going on around you, whether it's friends, family, or globally, you're just focusing on, in this moment, I am safe. I am whole. I am enough. Surround yourself with this energy of completeness, of worth, of value, of preparation, of readiness. And paint the cocoon any kind of color that you want. I'm getting deep, deep shades of purple, violet, and indigo. So a really protective, spiritual blanket that you're kind of wrapping around yourself. And give yourself permission to be free, to fly, to go wherever you want to. And you can imagine that the cocoon melts into your auric field and is replaced by beautiful wings. I mentioned the rainbow. You can imagine that they're iridescent, that they have every color in the known light spectrum, and then some beyond that we can even imagine. And that you have the wings to carry you, you have the connection to the planet to support you, and you have the belief and value in yourself to embolden you to take the next step. Okay? Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and let's look at your final question. This can be anything that you need clarity on that we have not yet covered today. All right. Yes, now, here. The Knight of Swords is a card of action, of fast action, of going the distance. It also reminds us that communication can open all of this up. So, like the Kate Bush song, Cloud Busting, she's like, even just saying it could make it happen. Absolutely saying it can make it happen. You can speak it into existence. So in this moment in time, don't be afraid to say what you want, but make sure that you're saying it with conviction. Don't be afraid to chase your dreams, but make sure that you're doing so with a sense of belief. So conviction, faith, belief, all the stuff that we were kind of focusing on in the cocoon, really feel like you have it. And then all you have to do is show up and momentum sort of picks up. As a yes or no, it's a yes, provided all of those caveats are in place. Yes, but really mean it, really go for it. And then speed and I would say action happens. Take time to enjoy the scenery because things might start to go quickly in this period of time. And that, my friends, was a very magical, very fun reading. I like to change things because we've been doing this for a while. I think I started the weekly ones around 5 years ago. I've been doing the channel for 10 years, but consistently showing up, I think it was around 2019, maybe it's a little bit more than that, so maybe 6 years. Anyway, we've been doing that for a minute, so sometimes I like to pivot and change it up. I think this was a successful one because there was structure to it. We had questions, we had more cards than we actually probably would have, or about the same in a Celtic, but with more clarity sometimes. So I'll see if I can do other ones like this. And for some of the members, we'll probably be doing a members reading around Thursday of this week. Occasionally we can do stuff like that where we change the format. Okay, speaking of that, if you enjoyed what you saw here, please do me a favor, become a member if you'd like to. You can subscribe, you can hit the thumbs up, leave a comment when this goes on replay. I read everything and I love to see what resonated. So in advance, I want to say thanks for that. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on stuff, of course, subscribing is number one. Make sure when you can click all notifications, but as a fail-safe, follow me on the social media platform of your choice. I'm on just about everything, with my full name being the main handle. Blue Sky, it's my website, because that's how you verify. And so to that end, my website is nicholasashbaugh.com. And a reminder, I don't give private readings right now. I don't use direct messages, so be mindful of that. And you can also check out the latest podcast that I did a month or two ago on my main channel page. All right, I'd like to give some gratitude and thanks in this moment in time for everyone that showed up today, and then we'll wrap up. All right, so let me just pull up the window here. We're going to start off with fan funding, and then I'll move on to stickers and fun things like that. So to anyone that either gifted or gave me sort of like an anniversary message, we'll start with that. So Kristen, thank you for gifting a membership. I appreciate that. And also thank you for 8 months of fabulous membership. And thanks for welcoming all the newbies here. Very kind of you. Bun, thank you also for gifting a membership. Lucy gifting 1 as well. Colette, you gave 5. You're a rock star. Thank you. Deborah also giving 5. Thank you. We have a couple people that joined during this, including Jane and let's see. I just missed it. Here it was. Believe in Magic. Thank you also. Okay, Tahoe, good to see you back here. Thank you for gifting 5. I also saw that you gifted some memberships on the members only when I had the sort of stream that interrupted, so I meant to say thanks for that. And thank you for many months of membership. I see the crown has a lot of points on yours, so thank you very much. Let's see. We have Kristen also gifting 1, and Gia. Thanks a lot. And from the stickers that I can see here, Color Me Happy, Kristen, Mel 305, Monica, Jeannie, Yolanda, and Lisa. All right, let me see what else I missed. I'm going to go into the membership tab. It's a little harder sometimes now because they limit how many I can see. So I can't thank and welcome everybody, but I'm recognizing the people that gifted it, which is probably why. That's the important piece. All right, let's see. Yeah, there were a bunch here. So I can't pronounce, oh, Heropon, thank you, I can see it now. So welcome back to some of these people. I said welcome to Jane, Chella, Mel, Barb, Julie, Alia, I think it is, Astrotero, Albania, Ventura, Piper Lee, Michalina, Bun, let's see, yeah, I can't get below after that. So to everyone else, thank you. I can only see one screen. Let me try one thing here. If I do 20 at a time, I might be able to do it. I have to kind of like work with the system. Sometimes if I do that, it'll work. Yeah, okay. Donna, Melanie, Believe in Magic, Rock, Bonnie, let's see. Cheek, Candy, and I think I got everybody. Okay. All right, so let's look at super stickers, super chat. If I didn't, I know that Dakota did, and I'll see it on the replay. All right, so again, thank you to the following for stickers: Color Me Happy, Kristen, Lucy, Mel, Monica, Jeannie, Yolanda, and Lisa. And if I didn't get everybody, just know that I appreciate you. And welcome to all the new folks. We will be doing about 2 members videos per month. That felt right. It's every other week because that also felt right. It's not overdoing it. And we'll switch up the format on that. It won't always be Q&A. Maybe you'll vote on some stuff. Maybe we can vote the things that never win and do it just for the members. So I might even just ask you, what do you want to cover? And we can pick some things from that. So the member stuff is it's much more casual. So we'll be doing a couple of those per month. And let's get to the next milestone. We are so close, by the way, to a big milestone. We could do something fun when we hit that as well. All right, folks, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Do something fun. Remember the 9 of Cups. And until I see you next time, take care. And again, thank you, Dakota, for your help as well. All right, everyone. Talk to you soon.